for the 2018 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Provincial Junior Curling Championship. I'm Vince Williams, and joining me momentarily, my broadcast partner, John Seitman. This evening's game on Sheet C sees a must-win situation for Ryan Abraham's team versus Matthew Manuel, who's already qualified for the playoffs. His former teammates facing each other, and it's going to be quite a matchup here, John, between these two teams. They're very familiar with each other, curling out of the same club in Halifax and Mayflower.
Yeah, definitely. The two teams are really very experienced against each other. Ryan Abraham is a former member of Team Manuel, having curled for about 5 or 6 years with the three members of the team before joining up to skip his own team, which you now see here today. They've been playing extremely well, as have Team Manuel, so it should be an excellent match today, as both teams look to solidify a good spot in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Both of the teams went through their warm-up, just about ready and set to throw the first stone. Team Manuel will be throwing the blue stones, and Team Abraham will be throwing the yellow stones. And let's just quickly meet the teams. For Team Manuel, their skip, Matthew Manuel, their mate, Adam Cox, their second, Nick Zachernick, and their lead, Alec Cameron. And for Team Abraham, as you can see here, the first stone being thrown.
That would be Team Manuel's lead, Alec Cameron.
Alec Cameron throwing the first stone here in this match. Right away, not much time in between there as they step in, because Team Abraham just stepped in and ready to roll. So it should be a pretty intense match here, John, between these two teams.
Yeah, it should be a good one again. It's a very long game, as you have seen, and our viewers have probably seen, of 10 ends, 38 minutes each of thinking time, and if necessary, after the completion of that, if we're all tied up, we could play one more. And both teams, because of just how they've been riding a lot of momentum going into this evening's match, they're really playing well, so it should be a dandy here on a Saturday night here at Lakeshore.
So the first stone thrown by Team Abraham's lead, that is Thomas Mosier. And the second stone coming down now by Alec Cameron.
So this is a pretty textbook end here. Just
pretty much feeling each other out.
Just feeling each other out. No need to really take any risks too early. Save some time for the later ends, where you really need that extra time to think about your shots and execute as necessary. So as Thomas throws there, our viewers may also want to know that there is one other game in play, and it is a big one as well. As on Sheet D in our other feature game, there is a big match for Caitlin Jones out of the Halifax Curling Club, facing off against Callie Moore. If Jones does win this game here tonight, there wouldn't even need to be a playoffs. They would be the Nova Scotia Junior Women's champions, having already won the A and B qualifiers. If you could get all 3 spots, there's no need to play anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So a big match on Sheet D for the ladies. Provincial championship on the line tonight. I would imagine Team Jones would like to get that done and over with. And the first stone here by the second for Team Manuel, that's Nick Zachernick. He's able to hit and clear. And it continues as chess match continues here, just feeling each other out. These two teams previously played each other, where it was Team Abraham getting the betterment of Team Manuel 6-3, and that was Friday morning. The first stone here for Team Abraham's second, Jake Fleming.
So again, that game between the two teams earlier in the tournament wasn't probably the best one of Matt Manuel's tournament so far. So he's really looking to get a bit of redemption from that game. And ever since riding a wave of momentum, having defeated Graham Weigel twice in this tournament already, including just during the last draw, which I was lucky enough to be over on Sheet D commentating with your colleague Dan Hobson. And he's looking to really solidify that spot in the playoffs, because if Manuel does win tonight, he would need to be defeated twice. Well, if Team Abraham wins, it would book their spot in the playoffs, and we could have a 2 p.m. game tomorrow for the title.
Making it very interesting. And the second stone coming up here for Jake Fleming, as Graham Weigel and his team waiting already won the B qualifier, winning that match this afternoon 11-8, and that was done on Friday afternoon, so he qualified then. And Flemings puts up the guard here just outside the 12-foot.
So it's very interesting to see the contrast between the two teams. Simply in the Team Manuel has a lot of experience playing together, having had 3 of the 4 have been curling together probably for about 8 or 9 years at minimum there. They've been curling probably as long as I can remember together. Well, Team Abraham just got together pretty much 2 years ago, I believe, following Ryan's departure from Team Manuel. And they've really been playing strong on this circuit. And they have a huge amount of experience, especially having brought in Brooks Roach from PEI now, playing third for them, who has really been a star on the national circuit. It makes them a championship team.
Absolutely. And this is Brooks' first stone from Montague PEI, as you mentioned, several appearances on the national stage. Most recently, the 2017 U Sports National Bronze Medalist. Stone a little bit short, though, but a good spot. Looks like continue to size things up here as both teams moving quite quick. They have a plan and they're setting it up, so
yeah,
not taking much time in between throws.
Yeah, because of it being so early, they're really not needing to really engage in much of anything. You're going to see a lot more play start to form starting in the second end, when Team Abraham can take advantage of having the last rock, and they'll probably have a lot more rocks in play, and maybe have a bit more of a draw style.
Right.
These two teams are really good at the hit style game, but I guess the main key for both of them tonight would be simply in the really good draw play, being able to execute the precise shots when they matter, because that could be the difference in a win and a loss here tonight.
And Brooks' shot really close to the button there.
Adam Cox.
Adam Cox. His second stone coming up.
Actually, this is the first stone for Matthew Manuel, or the skip for Team Manuel.
Jeez, we're getting it all mixed up
at the end's going pretty fast here.
Yes, they are fast. They are lining up and throwing. So the skip, you're right there, John. First throw for Matthew Manuel.
So Matt's going to want to just play a hit and stick, just keep it in play, just enough to get the members of Team Abraham to make a play on it. Sometimes the simple hit and sticks early in the game can be a bit challenging, because they are trying to get a little bit used to the ice, and as a result, it can cause some very uncharacteristic misses. These two teams have not had as much of that, but again, you never know, because pressure at this late stage in this event could be a factor.
There's a lot more riding on the line tonight than previous matches, that's for sure. Ryan Abraham's first stone. Hit and roll, and clears the house.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see here, Adam has put the broom down now, that they're going to try to get one out to the edge of the house, try to get it in an area where when you get out toward the edge of this sheet, it generally starts to sort of drift out slightly.
Right.
So as a result, it makes it very difficult to be very precise with making the takeouts on the very edge. So they're looking at a possibility of trying to maybe play something aggressive that if there was a miss, it would result in a steal. But again, Abraham, having been a career second for many years, he's really good at making those pinpoint takeouts when they need them.
Just on the edge, the 12-foot there. Manuel Stone.
So both teams really just banking time. Ryan's already down at the hack, ready to go here with his final stone.
Team Abraham with the hammer. His first
Thomas working really hard on this one here.
Got a good line. And sticks and hitting sticks, so there you go.
Definitely not the result that Ryan wanted there. Because of having the last rock in the first end, he really wanted to blank this end
so he could carry over that hammer.
He could carry over the hammer to the second, because you want to. The ideal goal in a game this long, you want to have hammer in 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10.
Definitely on the evens.
If you go very ideal. Losing the hammer now back to Team Manuel, it is a really big mistake there that it could be exploited by Matt on the next end. If he can get a multiple and really start off this game big, he's been really shutting down games pretty fast as a result.
And Thomas Mosier will throw the first stone in this second end for Team Abraham. Mosier, 17 years old, curling for 10 years, curls out of the Mayflower Club. A two-time under-18 provincial champion, a silver medal at the U18 Nationals. Sporting the Blue Jays cap. It's always a good thing.
Yeah, of course. It's been a bit unusual today. I've seen Ryan Abraham with a cap on. I don't think I've ever seen him wear a baseball cap at all since I started curling against him. So,
sporting Chicago Bears, the National Football League. So, really working hard with the brush.
So this is going to be a very big point just to see how Matt's going to play this end. He looks like he's calling more for a top 8, top 12, try to get behind cover. It really puts some pressure on to keep the scoring area tight. He needs to really get just across center just so they can get the ideal position to bury it.
First stone coming down the sheet from Alec Cameron. Good line. Starting to curl a little. Just a little bit more, and Nelson's close to the button there. Not a bad throw for Alec Cameron.
Yeah, pretty good result there. It's pretty much completely buried. Forces a lot of pressure on to Thomas to make a good draw down to it.
Thomas's second throw. They like the weight. Now it all comes down to the line. Little extra push at the end there, really working hard. Good tap, but still stays around the tee line. Snuck that stone inside, though, a little bit, as you can see.
Okay, so for this one here, because of it rolling out into the open, it now gives Matt the opportunity to try to hit and roll behind the guard. if he can hit and roll just perfectly behind the guard, it would really set him up in a good position this early in the end.
Cameron with his second throw. They like to wait.
Needs to curl a little bit here.
Looks like a pretty good result. And a hit and stick, so line 2 inside the house is Team Manuel.
So Ryan's calling for Jake to go pretty similar to that shot, just enough to be able to get the roll behind the guard and really make a very tight scoring area. It would force them to play a draw down to that area, that spot at the back of the 4. But
and that's a big miss right there by Team Abraham's second, Jake Fleming, 18 years old. He's been curling for 7 years. He also curls out of the Mayflower Club, silver medal at the Under-18 Nationals. So big opportunity here for Team Manuel to capitalize on that huge miss there, John.
Definitely there, Vince. There really is an opportunity now that if Nick can get a little bit of movement around, it would make it a bit easier to protect this. I wouldn't be that unhappy if it either rolled behind the guard or even if it just ticked off on and went to the edge of the 12-foot and moved the stone that he's trying to get contact with behind cover. It's 2-1, half a dozen of the other either way. Alex working on this really hard here.
And that's a pretty good result by Nick Zacharnik, the second for Team Manuel. A little bit of cover behind the guard of Team Abraham, but they're line 3 inside the house with the hammer in the second end, trailing 1-0.
So here you're going to see, based on what it looks like from here, Jake is going to throw a nice downweight takeout, just enough to get a roll from the stone that is there at the edge of the 8-foot and try to roll toward the button.
The line has to be good. Looking good. Hit. And that's not a bad result, but you can see there that one blue stone. Team Manuel still have a little bit of an advantage closer to the button with the seeing eye. I'm pretty sure I can make it a judgment from here just by looking here on your screen.
Yeah, so it would definitely be Team Manuel with the shot stone. So now you're going to probably see here Nick's going to peel off the guard. Then it opens up a little bit more of the path so that they can have access to get that stone of Team Abraham's out. It's not serving as much of a purpose now that you have that you're only sitting the one shot. So peel it off.
Good result.
And they're going to try to replace it in that same position because the main strategy for this type of an end, you really want to get a point in the game where you're able to force them to, Team Manuel, to take a single point. They've really been good at getting very high-scoring games this week. I believe they've averaged about 9 to 10 points a game. So they really are able to run hot when they get the big points. So if you're able to force them to take singles, it's a big victory for you as their opponent.
So Brooks with the guard. Not a bad shot there, perfect position. Brooks Roach with his first stone. Good weight and good line on that one, John.
Yeah, for sure, and that really gives a good position because it blocks off any form of movement onto that stone. So they're going to try to peel it off. depending on the angle that they hit it, there could be the possibility that it could run back and jam onto that stone of Team Abraham's at the top of the forefoot. I don't think he wants the jam, but it may be there.
Lots of speed on this stone. See if the line is good, and that's a peel off. It's just exactly what you said. So good, accurate throw there. And I would imagine it's important early in the game to be accurate, just for consistency purposes. As the game gets, tighter in the latter part of this match, you want to make sure that you're throwing your best stones all the way through, and you have that consistency.
Yeah, you really want to get the high percentage of accuracy from the start, because if you're able to be as consistent as possible from the early stages, it really starts to sort of frustrate the other team a little bit.
Yeah.
Because as I may have said before the game there, if you're curling really well and the other team's curling extremely well, especially when you have them making big shots,
right?
It doesn't matter how good you think you're curling. They're going to keep frustrating you the whole way through.
Psychological. It's a psychological game.
And a lot of the thing in these 10-end games is a lot of focus and consistency over a long period of time, because these are long games. Most of these curlers are used to, on the tour circuit, playing 8-end games, a little bit of a shorter style.
Right.
So they have to play a little bit more aggressive. Here they have the ability to have a little bit of a more patient style, which you don't get as often.
And upcoming is the first stone. Is the skip. Ryan Abraham leading in this second end, but the hammer does belong to Team Manuel.
Sweeper's really working hard on this there. They really need to get toward the center line in order to have as much of an effect as they had with the first ones.
Fleming and Mosier really going to work. Fleming, the last few.
Just over there.
Just
good work.
Made it. So, good weight, good work with the sweeping from Fleming and Mosier.
And the interesting thing, when you see Team Abraham, is that while you had Ryan, who was a second for many years and jumped up to skip, you also have Jake, who it was a skip for a while before jumping into playing second.
Right.
Which is a very interesting transition, because you're not as much used to sweeping the full length of the sheet for a very long time, because you have usually as a second, you're sweeping 6 rocks an end, so you're really putting a lot of effort in. So kudos to Jake. He really has made the transition well, and has been dominating at second position all week.
Matthew Manuel up now. His first stone in this second end with the hammer.
So good execution there, just peeling it off to the side.
Now here's where the fun really begins.
I can see what they're trying to do there. They're trying to play a very precise tap, just enough to maybe move the rock, maybe about just a few inches, just enough to be into the count. You don't need to move it much, but the question is, how much do they think that they want to move the back blue of Team Manuel?
And for the first time, strategy is really coming into play. As Ryan Abraham taking his time to talk things over here, as you can see. A lot at stake here in his last throw. Can't afford to make a miss here.
He's really trying to avoid giving Team Manuel a double. So the question is, with the weight, how much can you go safely before tapping it to where you can't really have an effect on it? It's going to be challenging because if you move the closest stone of Team Manuel, that it's going to have enough that it could be. And timeout has been called by Team. I believe that was that was Abraham that called that.
Abraham is going to talk things over here.
So that's going to bring the veteran coaches in, Stu Cameron and Paul Fleming.
Have a quick conversation of some strategy here. So you can see how important it is. We're only in the second end, John. You can see how important it is for both of these sides to figure out what exactly is going to happen in these last few rocks.
For sure, and especially the fact that I think that was one that Paul got their attention to call timeout from inside. He really wants to get them to settle into a strategic mindset early, and it was obvious that the call that they were going with wasn't really in their game plan.
Right.
And if he's able to just get them to refocus a little bit early and maybe give them a little bit of wisdom from his veteran experience that he does have.
And what do you think he's saying to his skip right now in regards to the shot, the correct shot that they should be playing in the second end?
I think based on what it appeared, I think he's trying to play a little bit simpler on it. It does appear that he is calling for the line for the guard, which was where they were earlier. So Paul obviously sort of talked them a little bit out of the tap, which was what it seemed like they were trying to play.
So the timeout has expired. Now, very important rock here. The last stone by the skip, Ryan Abraham. Mosier and Fleming really digging in.
Yeah, they really want to get this as close as possible to the center line so that they can protect that stone at the top of the 4-foot.
That's not a bad shot there.
Good result. It really forces now that the only real shot for a multiple, because I believe that that Team Manuel is still saying shot. It results in pretty much a cold draw to the button, really. If you bite the edge of the button, you score your 2 points. It is sitting one blue.
So good opening here. So first opportunity at a. We'll see if Matthew Manuel can stick it.
The biggest thing on this one is going to be very much in the sweeping judgments. It's very difficult to get the weight just perfect in this area, so he's going to really have to trust his sweepers to be able to help carry him a little bit down onto that.
Cameron and Zachanek digging in. He is asking for it right now. Starting to curl. Here it comes. Just a little bit short. The line in the weight looked like it was a little bit off there, John.
Yeah, a little bit light from what he wanted, so that really is good for Team Abraham that they were able to force a single out of Team Manuel. It's not the start that Manuel wanted because he's so used to starting off big early.
Right.
So, again, time to refocus and just get back into the game. Tied 1-1, it's pretty much back to square one, and it's almost like an 8-end curling game here.
An opportunity was there for Team Manuel after He forced Team Abraham to take that single with the hammer in the first end. And an opportunity to play two around the button for Manuel. Just couldn't come up with that good shot at the end. So we'll go over to the third, tied 1-1. It'll be Team Abraham's hammer.
So a quick update for our viewers here on Sheet C. We have, again, our other game in play, Team Caitlin Jones versus Team Callie Moore, with Jones with the potential to clinch the title with a victory here tonight. The current score 1-0 Callie Moore after 2 ends of play. So the young stars from the under-18 division, last year's under-18 champions, really putting a good effort up so far early against the majority of the former world champions.
So a good showing on Sheet D. That's also available on TV1.
So Ryan is going to call a more aggressive start here. They're trying to set up a corner guard fairly high based on what I see here, but they're going to get just enough to get to his prom. And that's what you would call, if you for some of our viewers who may watch like the Briar or the Scotties, it's what you would sort of call the coffee cup position, because when you see the broadcast at like the Briar or the Scotties, there's usually a coffee cup in that area of the ice. And that's really the perfect position for a corner guard. So we'll see there. It looks like Team Manuel is going to call another center.
They're happy with the weight. Let's see where the line is.
Okay, so pretty good there. It was a little bit deep from probably what they wanted. So now this gives the opportunity for Ryan to utilize that corner with the second stone of Thomas Mosier and just be able to put one in tight early and put a lot of pressure on the defending champions.
Roach and Fleming really working it. Abraham joining in, trying to get it over and curl it around. Will they have enough?
That was impressive, sweeping it that far. That was really well done.
Great job there by Abraham, along with Roach, taking over there, as Fleming did a good job getting it to that distance. As you can see, Abraham and Roach exchanging pleasantries. They're quite happy with that result. So where does this put Manuel in this situation?
In this situation, it really depends on this shot here from Nick. If he's able to get a perfect hit and roll and remove that stone that was just delivered, it could really set them up a lot better for this end. They need to get by just perfect here. Well done. It does put it out into the open, but now it's in a different area of the sheet that they haven't quite played onto, and could be a bit tough to read. So it'll be interesting to see as we move on throughout this end.
So a good hit and roll there for Team Manuel, and the first stone for Jake Fleming, the second for Team Abraham. Pretty satisfied with the weight. We'll get on it just a little bit. And he hits and sticks it. Rolls the blue stone through the house.
So it appeared like Jake was hoping to get a little bit of a roll either to the inside or a little bit further away. So still
to
hitting
sneak it around those two blue stones.
Yeah, still being in this position is fine right now this early in the game. I'm sure he's going to correct with it on his second stone if given the opportunity.
Nick Zachernick looking for the same result. He hits and sticks and rolls the yellow stone through the house.
So on this shot, you're going to see a lot more weight from Jake. I think Ryan pretty much wants to remove at least 2 of those stones from play, and probably it will result in the shooting stone from Jake being removed from play. Super's working hard on this.
Really asking for him to put everything into it. Hit, a double hit, but he knocks the blue stone of Team Manuel's into the 12-foot, just on the edge there.
And the big issue with that one now is that pretty much almost put it in a very difficult area because it's almost near the guard. Though it does look wide open. In order to really get proper roll out of that, you have to go from the center line out.
Right.
Which, as we saw during a few games this week, it curls a lot more than outside in, which is generally your typical way the curling sheet operates, especially on this fast a surface.
So the first stone for the third, Adam Cox for Team Manuel. Good line. And just gets the result that they were looking for. So good throw. Good first throw there for Adam Cox. Good results.
Yeah, that definitely was extremely good, just clearing out that area of the front. It seems as if they're not really trying to make any real particular big plays yet. Again, it's a long game, so anything can happen, so maybe they're really just trying to still feel out the ice and everything and just get a handle for that.
Definitely trying to limit mistakes. Don't want any mistakes early in this match between these two teams. It was very vital for Team Abraham. They can't afford to make any mistakes in this match as they are fighting for their lives. First stone here from Brooks Roach. Pretty satisfied with the weight. It's a good line and good hit and stick.
Well done there from Brooks. So that really, it's probably going to result in the rest of the end being relatively clean. Just, again, takeouts for a few of them. I see Ryan's still unsure on whether that blue stone of Team Manuel's is in or out. It's pretty close to the line, so tough to tell.
Good line, good weight, hit and stick. So from this vantage point, it doesn't look like there's anything inside the house.
No, so it does appear now that they are going to try to remove that one from play because the best option for Team Manuel in this situation would be that they would be able to play the tick shot and get that type of stone. That stone probably would be the one that would get put into play, and they would probably have 2. So they were going to try a little bit tight to try to remove it.
Whoa. And that's just a big opportunity there. Unable to execute on that one.
So it looks like they're going to play more come around draw. Just use that stone as protection. Pretty clean cut draw. If you draw the 4-foot, it's a really good spot. Top the 8, still really good. You want to limit the possibility for Ryan to be able to make a run back.
So Manuel's first stone here in the third end. We're all tied up, one apiece. Team Abraham with the hammer. They're really working on it here, Cameron and Zachary. Happy with the weight now.
Yeah, sweepers are on and off, so that means that they're pretty confident with this. It's a little bit heavier than probably expected, so they're going to try to get as deep as possible.
And that's a pretty good shot in the back of the house there. Line the 12-foot. So John, where does Abraham go from here?
I think it's pretty much that they're going to just try to keep it as clean as possible. Just hit on the nose, and then that's pretty much going to result in another hit again, and then I think the end is probably going to be blanked. Yeah, that's pretty much all that
That's
you can
the goal.
really. Yeah, that's the goal, really. They're going to want to carry the hammer over to the even ends as a result of losing out on it blanking the first end. Thomas
Just
working really hard on this.
Really working it. And they get the result that they were looking for.
They kind of wanted to keep it in the house there so that they would be able to force Matt to go for a hit. Now, as a result of this, it does look like they're going to try to play a little bit of a better position, draw around.
And would you say it's the right strategy at this moment of the match?
Yeah, I think it's a calculated risk because they really, as long as they can get it behind cover, they could really put some pressure on Ryan Abraham to make potentially a big hit or a double or a run back, something that is a much lower percentage shot. You leave it in the position of just a hit and a hit in an open area that they're going to make it most of the time, especially these two teams. Sweepers working hard on this. They need to get it by.
Yeah. It's curling. Here it comes. Last few sweeps here. Pretty outstanding.
That was extremely well done from the sweepers there. That puts it pretty much. It looks like it's
just a little bit of a daylight there.
So that
on the outer edge.
Once Ryan's out of screen there, we could probably see that it's going to be about, I'm guessing, it's about about half a rock. So that will force that they're probably going to try to go for the pick. Pretty simple shot. Just get it out and carry over that hammer.
Big shot coming up here for Abraham. Trying to carry this over to the fourth end.
Final stone here. Thomas working on this pretty hard.
Thomas has been digging in throughout this match.
Trying to back it out as much as possible. Got it there. Nice clip. Got it out the side.
Great result. And a blank sheet and you carry over to the fourth end for Abraham. So great execution. Two good shots by both sides, forcing each other to come up with some quality shots. Manuel with the first, and then Abraham with the last shot there to force that blank sheet.
Yeah, both teams are playing extremely consistent curling at this late stage in the event. It was a few really exceptional shots in that end that resulted in that blank end. So carry over the hammer. It really fits the game plan of Team Abraham. So we'll see what they can make of it in the fourth.
Alec Cameron will lead off with Team Manuel.
Yeah, we have a pretty good crowd here on a beautiful Saturday night here in Lower Sackville. Lots of people here in the clubhouse area, and a lot of people filling up the stands in the ice shed, cheering on their favorite teams. It's a big weekend for junior curling here across Canada, as by Sunday afternoon, every position in the 2018 New Holland Canadian Junior Championships in Shawinigan will be filled. A few provinces decided their reps during this afternoon's play across the country, and with the remainder to be decided on Sunday. Exciting times as we determine our representative.
Definitely a lot of exciting, intense moments here at the Lakeshore Curling Club. As Thomas Mosier's first stone. It's a pretty good one. So he sneaks it around the guard.
Well done
Quality
there.
shot there from Thomas Mosier.
Well done there from Thomas. He really put it just nice behind cover. It's very difficult to try to remove that stone. So it's going to force a come around draw from Alec.
Cameron's second stone. Manuel, Skip calling for the sweepers to really work it. It's curling. Here it comes. He couldn't sneak it around its own guard.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot higher than they really wanted. They really wanted to get it as close as possible to that stone at the top of the forefoot. Now it gives the opportunity for Ryan to be able to lock one on to that stone that they just threw with Team Manuel and really shut down that area of the sheet. It makes it very challenging, forces you to probably make a few precise hits to be as effective as possible.
Mosier's second stone. Weight looks good. Here it comes. Hit, a little bit of a roll, and not sure if that's the result that they were looking for out of that. Second throw from Thomas.
Yeah, probably tapped a little bit further than they wanted. Now it gives an opportunity that with the first stone from Nick being able to try to play a bit of a low weight tap down onto that stone at the forefoot. It's open for him. Let's see if he's able to execute.
A little bit of a cringe there from Zacharnik. He released it. They like the weight though. Let's see if the line's there. And didn't curl at all. And that'll go right through the house.
I think he felt a little bit out of the hack, like he was slightly wide. The weight was what they really wanted, just to be able to get a firm tap onto it. Because of it being that little bit wide, they weren't able to have the curl come back with that weight.
So opportunity here for Team Abraham with the hammer in the fourth end. Jake Fleming with his first stone. A very important throw here, as we are tied up. Potential elimination game for Team Abraham. They like the weight. Let's see where the line is. And here it comes. That nestles just a little bit heavy. Hanging on the edge of the 12-foot.
So again, it gives the opportunity now that Matt can call for that same shot again. A little bit tighter ice, it appears, compared to the last shot. Gives a chance to try to sit the 2 and really put a lot more pressure back on to Team Abraham.
Nick Zakarnik trying to make amends for his first stone. Likes to wait. No, calls a little bit. Waits there, sneaks just around the first stone. Good tap, not the right roll that they were looking for though. Puts the opposition's stone right on top of the button.
It does still get a good position there that they can still have a better opportunity to play tap on that, like play a raise onto the stone at the button. So now,
this is an important shot now from
that guard is now that guard now is going to really play. It's going to be a very thorn in the side of Team Abraham, so they're going to remove it, and then that gives them a little bit more of a direct path to try to make a play onto the zones of Team Manuel at the top of the 8. As I said there, Manuel's going to play that tap, raise onto blue onto yellow. If you can get it just right, you could get a slight bit of a roll to almost get behind cover. So
looking for precise weight and line here.
Matt's really going to want to play the angles just right here because he does see the possibility of roll over behind cover.
Lengthy discussion between him and Cox.
Calling for Adam to go for about half a rock, enough to slash it over and get the yellow moving while still getting behind cover.
Really working. There's Cameron.
Great execution there.
Beautiful execution.
It leaves them sitting 3. There's going to be probably some movement on the stone at the left of your screen, but I do see that there's not going to be very many opportunities to play on the one at the far right, so there will be an opportunity for an out from Team Manuel.
There's Brooks Roach, ready to throw his first stone in this 4th end.
Sweeper's not touching this one yet.
They like to wait. Do they have the line? They're able to knock one of the stones out of the house, but Team Manuel still lying 2.
So it looks like they're going to play a bit of a defensive shot here by guarding up that house. If you guard that area, it forces you to play a side which doesn't get as much curl, and you really need it to be able to snap across at the end in order to get toward the 4-foot.
Cox's second throw. Weight is definitely there. Is the line though. That's a pretty good shot.
The worry now there is that there's at least one double. If I don't know, he could if he was really trying to
Probably would have had to try to
go
curl it just a
big.
little close to the button.
I think that you could get, as a result of playing that double, you could get some movement on the third one.
That would be an outstanding shot.
Brooks is really good at playing that type of big weight, so it's definitely not a surprise that they're thinking of calling this big shot for them.
Brooks' second throw coming. Big moment in this match here in the fourth end. Is racing down the sheet. Hit. And he's able to get two. So he knocks out the front two, but still one remains inside the forefoot.
So you're probably going to see either... if it were me, I would be trying to guard that stone there at the edge of the forefoot. It does appear, though, that they're going to try to play a hit onto that yellow, which it's interesting because they're really, as a result of that, trying to play a bit more defensive than what they've been playing throughout the week. They've really been trying to play more of a high-scoring type of game, so they're not really trying to take any risks this early.
Manuel now. First stone in this fourth end. That seems to be the play you just mentioned there, John.
Alex going to work on it there to try to get as much curl as he can on it.
And rolls inside the 12 foot. So not a bad result there for the skiff. Now it's Ryan Abraham's turn. The counter. But he does his fourth end.
So Ryan is probably going to respond with a hit on the outturn side. If he gets a roll behind the blue of Team Manuel, it's still a really good shot because it will leave, as long as they sit biting into the A-foot, it will still be counting. But it will be protected by the stone in the house.
And here comes the first stone for the skip, Abraham. They like the weight. Hit and roll. That rolls both of them out of the house.
It was probably a little bit heavier than he wanted, simply in the fact that he wanted it to stick around. Now it gives the opportunity that Matt will be able to get another shot in a little bit tighter and force probably a single out of Team Abraham. Definitely tight curling here on a Saturday night.
Both of these teams playing very cool and cautiously. As we mentioned several times at the top of this broadcast, John, that this is an elimination game for Team Abraham. Team Manuel will go on to the playoffs regardless of the result tonight.
The biggest thing at stake again for Team Manuel is the fact that if they win this, they have 2 lives in the playoffs, facing a Graham Weagle rink that they have already beaten twice so far this tournament.
Absolutely.
If they're able to get the 2 lives in the playoffs, that could really be a factor that could lead them to a championship title tomorrow morning at 8:30 here on TV1. So Matt just split the house here, so it does force the Team Abraham to make a play down to that. It does appear like he's probably going to play more of a hit rather than a draw, because that is the style that Ryan plays a lot, coming again as a second for many years of his curling career. He really has a knack at weight.
So the final stone, the fourth end. Abraham. Here it comes. Weight looks good. Mosier. Fleming leans on it. It's coming. And he hits and sticks.
Great execution there from Ryan to score the single point. It really has been a lot of a different style game compared to what we've been seeing all week from both of these two teams, who have had a tendency to be high scoring. So again, tight currently here on a Saturday night. We'll see who is able to get a little bit of that extra edge to get a potential multiple point end as we advance toward the second half.
Just about to start the fifth end here. 2-1, Team Abraham leads over Team Manuel. Both of these teams looking to qualify for the playoff. As Thomas Mosier with his first stone.
As we start this end, I'll give an update to our viewers of the game for the game on sheet D. Team Caitlin Jones scored deuce in the fourth end. Lead Team Callie Moore 2-1 after 4. Again, a very experienced team from the Caitlin Jones rink. They won. Two members of that team won the World Junior title just a few years ago. Team with Mary Fay and Janique LeBlanc as the 4 that went on to defeat. I forget who it was. I believe it may have. It wasn't the USA, because they beat the USA in the Winter Olympic, like the Youth Winter Olympic. But they played phenomenal to win that world title, looking to return back. This is, I believe, the chance for Carly to make her 5th in a row. 5th national championship. That is exceptional in this curling circuit.
So a hit and roll. The first stone of Alec Cameron for Team Manuel. And the second stone coming up here for lead Thomas Mosier.
So this gives the opportunity for Thomas to play a nice come-around draw to try to draw around his own and place it nice behind the guard. They're going to need to have it curl just a little bit more once it gets past that stone.
Looking like a pretty good result. The weight is definitely there. Maybe a little too heavy. And that rolls right out the back, so missed opportunity there for a time. As he had the right curl. It looked like it was curling well, but it's just a little bit too heavy there.
And that's where you saw a little bit of the different skill set out of Matthew Manuel once that rock came past the tee line, because a lot of people know him as a skip, but he also played vice for his university team at St. Mary's University, if I remember correctly. And he knows how to sweep there. He doesn't do it as much as a skip,
right?
But he was able to drag that one out of the house when he needed. It's the opportunity for him to play a similar shot to get a better position for him in this end.
And that's not a bad result there.
That was a lot better curl compared. That was pretty much what Ryan probably wanted to get. So now it really tight scoring area that they're trying to aim toward.
That's a good shot there from Alec Cameron on his second throw.
It'll be interesting to see how Jake is able to get contact with that stone at the forefoot. If he's able to get it out from behind, it would help it in removing it on the next stone. He's going to need to work on it here, though.
They are really digging in right now, as Skip Abraham joins in as well. Just a little short there. Really try to work and bring that around. Get the right weight. The line was there, though, John.
Yeah, line was definitely there. They almost had the exact same line as the stone there of Team Manuel's at the top of the forefoot. So now try to play out to the Team Manuel's going to try to play out to the wings, put a rock in play enough to be scoring, and make Team Abraham think a little bit more, because if you give them plays in the exact same area, Team Abraham are going to the shots. You need to make them question the simple stuff sometimes, and that can really result in a big change in the game.
Zakarnik, his first down. Not a bad result for Zakarnik. Engineering major at Dalhousie University. Matthew, Nick, and Alec, along with head coach Stu Cameron, they've been together since 2008. Adam joined 2016-17. This is second stone thrown here by Jake Fleming.
Yeah, this is the neat thing about the types of different team combinations in curling. For many years, Adam was a skip in his own right, and he was very much one of the star skips, facing off against Matt Manuel almost every year for the title. When the opportunity opened that Abraham went to skip his own team, it gave a good opportunity for Adam Cox to join this team, and they have been dominant ever since. Though they are currently number 3 in the rankings in the Nova Scotia Junior Curling season, so it does give them confidence that they've won this event before many times, and they can keep on winning.
Hit and stick.
This really plays into Team Manuel's game plan. If they're able to score a point and here going into the break, it would really be a good result for them. Looks like there may have been a little bit of movement on that guard of Team Abraham's. So they're going to try to just place it back where it should have been before it was moved. For some of our viewers who may not be aware, when a rock moved like that, generally it's a sportsmanlike decision that both teams try to decide. It can get a little bit difficult once it's rocks that could have been in or could have been out.
Mm-hmm. When they're scoring opportunities. So
good to see that they were just able to just replace that and get it over with and get back to curling.
Brooks Roach's first stone here. We're in the 5th end. Team Abraham leads 2-1. Team Manuel owns the hammer.
So that was a little bit heavier than what they had hoped. They really wanted to play and stick to it.
Right.
If not, get a little bit of a roll towards center. Now this gives the opportunity that Adam can replace that his first of 2 and really put in Team Manuel in a good position to get a multiple going into that 5th end break.
Cox with his first stone here.
I sometimes have found over the years there, it's so challenging sometimes, because when you get a big score going right into the break, it can really play havoc on your mental game, because That's the last thing that you think of before your coach starts coming out, and you have to
You don't want to have a sense of panic and a sense of urgency. Sure. The strategy continuing here in this fifth end. Team Abraham talking things over, as you can see on the screen.
So it
sounds skip Ryan Abraham.
It sounds like Ryan wants Brooks to play it. Oh, looks like there's a timeout that has been called by Team Abraham again. That is their second of 2. So a
pivotal part of this match here in this fifth end, as we're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
So that's the one thing that as a competitive player I've tended to be very concerned with is when you call a timeout, because this early in the game they've already used both their timeouts. They needed to try to save a little bit of that for later in the game. Though they do have a lot of time left, you don't want to have to spend extra time thinking of your shots and not be able to get the feedback.
So what do you think is the mindset of their coach calling that timeout?
So Paul really, he's trying to get it so that they can, I'm guessing it would be to try to play something to tap that yellow in. If that were me again, his to play that aggressive style similar to Ryan. It appears like they are saying for a potential hit and roll too, so that could be an option.
Let's see if we can listen in. We hear faintly here a few instructions, final instructions being given by the head coach, Paul Fleming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're ready now after that timeout to execute the strategy.
Yeah, some people in the Nova Scotia curling community may be very familiar with Paul Fleming. He has been a long time a star on the curling circuit, having made won a silver medal in the 2005 Tim Hortons Broad team Sean Adams. And actually he's a member of Team Jamie Murphy, who have qualified in first place for the Deloitte Tankard taking place in a few weeks in Dartmouth for the chance to go on to the Tim Hortons Brier this year. So he's definitely instilling some wisdom on his team.
Yeah, it's his son, the second on Team Abraham, Jake Fleming. And not a bad result there. Brooks Roach.
That was interesting now, because that gives the opportunity for Adam to throw a hit and roll and get behind the guard on that side of the sheet.
And it's that close, as you could see in that last shot there, John. It's definitely in this end. And Adam Cox's first stone. Good weight. He's got the good line.
And great execution there from
Beautiful
Adam
execution
Cox.
With his first stone. Like the perfect weight and the perfect hit and roll. So, Manuel Lion 2 in the house. As it'll be the first of 2 for Team Abraham and their skip, Ryan Abraham. There has to be a little bit of pressure right now on that skip.
Oh, for sure, especially with this tight of a game. They really want to be able to limit any potential mistakes that they may have, and really put a lot more pressure onto Matt Mann, because he's been around for so many years at the top level that he knows how to win a lot. So if you force him into making pressure shots, you can only make so many pressure shots before mistakes start to come up.
Right weight, good hit and roll. Will it stay in the house? No. So they're able to knock out that second stone.
So you're probably going to see Matt throw the exact same type of shot as he's been having the few members of his team throw. If he can get it edge it between the 8 and 12 foot, just as they were showing, almost near the Coors logo on the center line, it would really put them in a good position. The more curl, the better in this situation, because they can cover.
So the first stone coming up for the skip, Manuel. Trailing in the fifth end, 2-1. Zacharick and Cameron really digging in. And lots of movement here in this first stone.
They really need to drag this as far as they can get it here.
Good curl. They have the right weight. And that's not bad.
That's extremely good there. It really puts a lot of pressure on Ryan Abraham to make a really... He's probably going to play a hit and roll. If he can get it sort of like the curling term would be an in-off, that he can get a roll to go from that stone over toward the button. That would be probably their best call that they can get. It's a very precise weight that they would need to throw, but it's probably their best option, and it seems that that's what they're throwing.
So a very important throw here, the final throw for Ryan Abraham in this fifth end. Looking for the hit and roll. He's really trying to dig in now as Mosier and Fleming really coming onto it. Back off a little bit. Sneaks around that guard. Here it comes, hits, and that is tremendous.
Well done there.
Beautiful last shot for Abraham, and squarely putting the pressure on Manuel now.
So that is a really interesting result, because now you're going to need to get a lot of curl out of that to get to the stone of team at the back of the button. Again, extremely well done from the skipper.
That definitely was the best shot of the match thus far. Abraham delivering in a pressure situation in the fifth end. Now it's Manuel's time with the hammer, looking to avoid the steal in this fifth end.
So you're probably going to see the sweepers as a big... If they can get a lot of curl out of it, that's what they need.
He's pretty happy with the weight right now. Let's check the line. Cameron and Zacharick. Lay off it. Here it comes. Just a little heavy, and that's rolling out. And and a huge steal and a point here in this fifth end
Yeah,
for Abraham.
that was a very difficult shot. He had to be very precise with it. Well done from Ryan Abraham. Gets the steal of 1 to go up 3-1 going into that fifth end break.
And a huge last stone there by Ryan Abraham. So, folks, we're going to step aside. Stay with us. You are watching the 2018 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Provincial Junior Curling Championships here at Lakeshore Curling Club.
Now, that I would mark 4, but the Ethan Young blank, I still mark a 5, but here's what it is. He didn't blank though. No, that's right. We're every time we nosed or flashed, we were like, all's right. I saw you guys saying that in the verse. What do we get? Oh yeah, give me one of those. Are there any spots that are going hard with board? No, no, not anything goes. Not like those sheets over there where we overcurled a couple. If we were like middle of the button going to the wings, it would go right. Hard. But nothing outside in anywhere seems to be busting hard, except for maybe like the center line area. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So like a heavy board will have to be heavy board outside in. Yeah. But I still like, if it doesn't matter, if there's nothing in the rings, throw a little, take a little less ice, just so it doesn't grab it both, especially with 2-point lead. Did you just kick out a little harder on that second draw, or was your first one? Yeah. Are you happy with your rock? Okay, what happened there? I think I went to go, when I rocked that stop. On your second one? It just stopped, so I think when I went to go, I just thought I'd give it a bit more to get it going. Okay. All right. So, would you say that the draw weight is still the same as it was in practice? Yeah. Okay. Maybe a hair slower. Not much, though, eh? He's throwing like 35s on his draw the button. I'd say it's like a 30. Yeah. Okay. So no difference. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like that O-turn, it's good. He's around, you know, I got nowhere to hide. As long as you don't bounce it, which he did. Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you for not sleeping. It looked good coming in. Yeah. Just so close. Yeah, and then you're hoping at that point, well, maybe they'll just hit and stick around here and give us a double. But then you eventually got that chance for the roll. Yeah. Great shot. It's good line. So, with the roll. What? With the roll. That's what I said. Still a lot. The roll sweeping was a 5. The roll was a 5. Yeah. Top 4 is a big shot here. What turn? No. Okay. That's what you're throwing, right? Yeah. Then they go. Corner. Then tight guard. Now, going back that end, you guys are allowed to use the measuring stick if you don't know it's in, right? You know that. He said it was in. He said that was in, but it's rough. I don't know. There was something there that you guys ignored, but like to me that was in. Was it questionable? Oh, was it? The yellow in the back? No, going that way like the third end. I thought, hey, you're allowed to use a measuring stick. No, I just okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's fine. I just didn't know if you knew. I said, you guys realize you're allowed to call it. We knew that. Okay. God, those cameras are hard for you. It's not centered, right? Yeah. We're going, boy. Top 4, corner, tight guard. Yeah. And then probably again. And now you guys know the turn feels coming back. Pretty straight there. On our third, if we just keep corners, we need tight guard, top 4. Like me peeling or me going high guard? Say that again? So 2 corners, we have top 4 tight guard. Yeah. You like me peeling or another high guard? Maybe peel on 1. High guard on the second. If there's no danger. It looks like there's danger of peeling where you can disturb a really good situation. Maybe leave it like you did the other night. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Good one. Focus on your weight here. Go. Good job. Good job.
to it. Paul, take your lunchbox.
You taking that?
Welcome back to the 2018 Nova Scotia Provincial Junior Curling Championships here on 5. We are live in the Lakeshore Curling Club in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia, where we have a dandy going on right now. I'm Vince Williams, joined by my broadcast partner, John Seitman, and we're in Sheet C in the men's division, whereas Team Abraham leads Team Manuel 3-1. Manuel has the hammer in the 6th end, but a beautiful shot, the last shot without the hammer in that 5th end by Ryan Abraham, the skip, who stole a single point and was able to get this 2-point lead leading up to this 6th end.
Yeah, that was a beautiful hit and roll there from Ryan, really showing that he's able to be cool under pressure and make that big shot when it counts. So the big thing for the second half is he's going to really see a more aggressive style play come out of Matthew Manuel. The question is, how is he going to be able to counter that and keep his lead as much as possible? If he's able to force Matt to take a single in this end, it would really put him under pressure.
So the first shot there from the lead of Team Abraham, Thomas Mosier, just inside the 8-foot. And the first rock rolling down now down the sheet from the lead from Team Manuel, and that's Alec Cameron.
So again, very stereotypical aggressive end with the last rock. He's really going to try hard to get that deuce to tie up the game. Multiples have been hard to come by so far this evening, it seems, between both of the games, because there's only been one multiple point and between our two evening matchups. So we'll see if the defending champion is able to get that deuce to get back in this game.
Well, you talked about both of these teams putting up some big numbers throughout the preliminaries, in the preliminary round, and now we're in, we're on the edge of the playoffs. But not a lot of chances being taken by both of these teams, as they're playing it cool and cautious here, knowing what's at stake here. Well, what has changed in that regards to them laying up a little bit here and playing more of a conservative curling game and not really aggressive and being the over-aggressor? Because we've seen the last few games that just a single mistake could be the difference of scoring and not scoring.
Yeah, it's definitely almost if I had to use a metaphor of the predator and the prey, that they're being very patient of knowing when to strike.
Right.
So far, because of how tight the game's been, they haven't really had the ability to get a big result. But again, both teams are so experienced in this game we love to watch and play, that at some point somebody's going to make a mistake, and if you are able to capitalize on that, that could be the difference in the match. 3-1 is such a small lead that anything can happen.
Absolutely.
Still a long way to go.
So the first stone in this 6th end for the second of Team Abraham, Jake Fleming, really working it, trying to sneak it around that guard. They just get it around. Not a bad result for the second from Team Abraham. Team Abraham trying to capitalize on that momentum that they are able to steal and end on that beautiful hit and roll by their skip, Ryan Abraham.
So it's really going to now, there's a lot more rocks in play than Matt wanted, so he's probably going to clear out a few with the next two from Nick. He's going to need to keep it as clear as possible in the front, but still be able to get rocks in the house so that he's able to score that multiple.
So Nick Zacharnik second for Team Manuel. Line, double tap. One stays home though, but looks like the skip. Matt Manuel happy with that result though, as he gives the thumbs up from the other end.
If I were him, I would definitely be very happy with that, because now you have set up a double corner guard there, and there's a lot of room to be able to, if you are able to come right around and get it just above the logo there at the edge of the 8-foot, that is a really good position that you're not going to be able to get rid of it for most of the end. It would result in you having to make a few peels to remove those, and it really would put them under pressure. So even though it's not the exact result that they'd hoped, it's still a good shot.
As you can see in the overhead, 2 rocks in the house, 1 of each from each side. Jake Fleming's second stone in this 6th end for Team Abraham. They like to wait, just waiting on the line. Really to curl around here. Not a bad result there from Jake.
A quick update for our viewers, as we have, again, 2 games in play. The girls' game over on Sheet D, which is our other feature game here on TV1, which is a few ends ahead of us there. They're playing the 7th end. Score is currently 3-1 for the team Caitlin Jones. The very tight game, but again, Jones really showing why she's currently undefeated in this tournament, looking to finish up this whole thing here tonight.
She's been very impressive along with her teammates.
And it's been great to see because of the fact that Caitlin coming in from Saskatchewan, this is her first year curling in Nova Scotia after moving in to fill a spot on Mary Fay Ring. And she's really showing that she's able to be one of the best skips in this country, no matter which province she's in, and win titles.
An easy feat. And that's not an easy feat, moving from one area to the next and trying to get familiar with, your teammates, your new teammates, along with, the different types of sheets. Not saying that, well, we do have a different type of climate from Nova Scotia to Saskatchewan, but in regards to curling, it's a little different when you're trying to mesh with teammates that have been on a level where they've been very successful themselves.
And the competitive environment is so much different when it comes to between the 2 provinces. There's generally a lot more teams that play down for that event in Saskatchewan, and she's been able to represent Saskatchewan at the junior level. So she's really showing that she can play well, moving over to a different province where it's a bit of a smaller field, a little bit tough to get used to a new team that, though they're extremely experienced and have won this title many times before, she's able to cope with the pressure coming in for the first time with that team as defending champions.
That's correct.
Which can be a challenge that very few curlers may be up to at the times, but boy, would you ever love to be in that position of being a defending champion the first time you walk into a big event?
Well, they're almost on their way, for sure.
So it looks here like Matt is going to try to play. It sounded like they were thinking of going back 8. They need to get behind that guard potentially if they're going that way. But they're leaning more now toward the hit and roll, which...
Yeah, you can see that.
Which that does fit the style of Adam Cox, who currently is in the hack ready to throw. So we'll see how he's able to execute it. I could see that he's going to play this really... If he's able to get it behind the guard just perfect, it would really put them in a good position.
They got the weight that they're looking for. Just looking for the line. Hit, roll, And just a little bit heavy as it rolls the house. So not the result that Cox was looking for. See a little bit of a grimace there as he looks down the sheet towards his skip, Manuel.
The benefit still is that Manuel is still hitting the one right now. It forces Ryan to play a shot at the stone at the wings, which can be a difficult area to predict. It's an area that we haven't seen much play in, and as a result, it could force a miss out of Team Abraham, which is something that to come by throughout this game, being able to get a miss out of this strong team.
And Butch Roach's hit and roll. He rolls that one to the 12-foot. Team Manuel trailing 3-1 here in the sixth end. As this the second stone coming now.
Sweeper's working hard on this one early.
Looking for it to curl. Splitting the stones. And not a bad result there.
And that's an extremely good position. I don't know how open it particularly is when viewing it from the hack end. To me, it looks like there probably is some room to see it from the other side. So it could be open, so he's going to probably try to play it down to it. It's not as open as I thought. So that's a bit challenging. You're probably not going to... It's going to be very difficult to count 2 right now. So they're going to need to come down and just freeze to that stone of Team Manuel's.
That's a pretty good result there in that last throw by Adam Cox, excuse me. First stone here in this sixth end for the skip, Ryan Abraham. And he is calling on Fleming and Mosier to really dig in. Jake trying to dig in. It's curling. It's coming.
By 1, by 2.
Weight looks good. And he hits it. Beautiful shot there by the skip, Ryan Abraham, in his first throw.
And really that has been the key to the game so far, that Abraham has been coming up with really big shots when he's needed it the most. And boy, he's producing in a big way in a big game like this, facing elimination.
Both of these teams looking to move on. But, well, one team's already qualified, and that's Team Manuel. Team Abraham trying to do the same, forcing a 3-team playoff as Team Weagle in the playoff round waiting.
Yes, the only guarantee from this game is that if Matt Manuel were to come back and win, that our feature game tomorrow morning on the men's side would be Manuel versus Weagle. And Manuel would have to be defeated twice, which is a very big advantage with the provincial title on the line and a trip to Shawinigan for the Nationals.
Manuel's
By 1, by 2 here.
curling.
Needs to get as hard as they can.
It's coming. It's coming, and just a little light there, as you can see on the edge of the 4-foot. That yellow stone lying in the better position.
Oh, that was a really well played curling game so far. Like, just being able to execute that precise draw, and he's that close and he's still not shot. Like, that can be frustrating.
I was just about to ask you that. It
Like,
has to be frustrating in that situation. He still has one more throw to come.
like in the case of like the key battle in this has been at skip, and like just the high percentage shots that both team skips have been making. Like, it's got to be annoying when you're probably like 85 and 90% type shots, and you're still getting just that wrong side of the inch.
Yeah. It seems to be like it's just not good enough. You have to be a little bit better.
And that's the difference between the teams that are sitting here on the sidelines, teams that are out there on the ice playing for the big stuff at the end.
Exactly. Last rock here for Ryan Abraham.
They're really going to want to be precise with this because there is an option for play onto that yellow.
And Ryan's satisfied with the weight there, trying to put up the guard. It's a pretty good shot. So, Manuel with his work cut out for him here. If he's going to prevent another steal in this end. As you can see, that shot lying there by
there is a very tough shot here. That
absolutely.
If you're able to get, he's probably putting almost exactly where just a bit inside of where he wants to hit the rock. If he's able to get like the edge of that, slash out the edge, front yellow onto the yellow that is currently sitting shot stone, you could at least get 2 out of that. That would be a really good result. Big shot, so we'll have to see if he's able to execute.
This will be the shot of the match if he's able to execute this one here. The skip. Matthew Manuel trying to duplicate from the last previous end in the 5th. The precise shooting with that of Ryan Abraham. So here it comes. Happy with the weight. Asking for them to come on. Hit.
Oh, what a shot. What a shot
of the match right there.
And the crowd goes wild.
Manuel executing with perfection the double takeout to take 2 in 6th end. That absolutely has to be heartbreaking right now, but still lots of curling left as we are tied up. The beautiful last shot there from Manuel.
All I can say is that the viewers that are tuning in here tonight on TV1 here on Sheets been treated to an epic match there. Like, I'm keeping track of the score here on my paper here in front of me, and like, I'm double circling these past 2 ends because it's like to make those 2 shots which could be disastrous for either team should they not make it, and it's like, now we're essentially 4 ends of curling for all the marbles. It's nuts.
And that had to be absolutely perfect coming out of the hand of Matthew Manuel, and he executed absolute perfection.
And you did see a little bit more of a show of emotion from Manuel more than what you normally see. He's usually very much a cool and collected one, so to see a little bit of excitement at that, it's something that is rare to see sometimes, but it shows that he's getting a little bit into this game. And if there's one thing that I can definitely say is that a determined Matthew Manuel is something that is deadly in this sport.
And these 2 skips were teammates at one time, Ryan and Matthew. And you have to think that some bragging rights are on the line as well. All tied up here, 3 apiece in the 7th end. Abraham with the hammer, though, after back-to-back brilliant shots by Abraham, one in the 5th and one in the 6th, where it looks like he was going to steal one. But a beautiful shot by Manuel ties this one up. So lots of drama here out on Sheet C, the 2018 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Provincial Championships. As a ticket to the playoff round on the line here for Team Abraham. This Team Manuel have already punched their ticket.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. If Abraham wins, we're here for a long time. If Team Manuel wins, we could have a very simple playoff format.
Isn't there a few songs out there with that type of moniker? Did you say? There's a few songs there by a few recording artists. Here for a good time, not a long time. Right now, Manuel looking for a good time, not a long time, but Abraham trying to change the narrative.
I think the song that comes to mind when I think of it is the iconic pop song All Night there, because it seems that with these good shots, they could be doing this game from all night long because they're playing exceptional.
Exceptional shot making by these two skips in the last two ends.
Update as we start this end, another steal of one in the 7th end for a 4-1 lead for Team Caitlin Jones, creeping in on the possibility of victory and a trip to Shawinigan. It would be the 4th championship decided today across the country in the women's side, as Prince Edward Island declared their champions, and Ontario had both their playdowns finish up today, both their main Ontario playdowns and the Northern Ontario playdowns. So we'll have to see if Caitlin Jones can book the 4th ticket to Shawinigan.
Well, they are very close after going down 1-0 in that end. They have had 4 unanswered points since then. As Jake Fleming throws his first stone of the 7th end.
So Sweeper's working really hard on this. They really need to drag it as far as they can to get it as close behind cover as possible. They just got that nice last-minute curl right around the guard.
It's not bad.
Well done.
Not bad by the 18-year-old.
So it does appear now that the free guard zone is out because that was the end of lead rocks. We're on to Nick's first. You may see a run back played. It looks like they're going to throw with weight. If you hit it straight, both yellow are going.
There's the hit. And there's this good result. Was unable to take both of them out. Did get the one.
Yeah, definitely still a good result. It one blue still close to the rings, and it opens up the possibility of getting closer to that yellow of Team Abraham. Not their ideal shot, but still a great result.
Second coming here from Jake Fleming. That's near perfect weight as he nestles it up. But an opportunity though, for Manuel. I think he would do. Is it time for the double here, or would they just?
It's a bit iffy. It looks like they are going for at least the hit and roll. Either way, they can probably get the double based on the weight that they're throwing.
First stone here.
Sweepers on and off, so they're pretty close here.
Adam Cox. Hit and roll, and he gets both of them. So beautiful execution on the double, on the hit and roll by Adam Cox.
And this is why, as I said, the viewers have been in for a treat, because to get that execution and then make the double and get right behind to pretty much bury that stone, it's ridiculously good. There's not many things that get me speechless, but this so far has been a very shockingly good match. It's been
very entertaining, in particular in the 5th and the 6th inning, and now here in the 7th. The level of competition has definitely risen as Brooks Roach throws his first stone of the 7th inning. Didn't have the line, but they did manage to take the guard out.
So the big question now for Team Manuel is, if you're currently looking to steal, do you come around draw, or do you try to protect that stone? It does look like they're going more for the hit and roll, because that stone on the side does appear to be in the count. You can roll it as far as you can get it, and that would be great. This is a tough spot in the sheet, so we'll see how Adam can execute.
Really looking for it to curl here. It's got good weight, good line.
A little bit more curl here.
It's got the hit and the roll. Good execution there by Cox. So line 2 now is Team Manuel. Looks like Ryan Abraham looking for the hit and roll.
Good opportunity for Brooks here to be able to make a play on that. If they're able to get the first stone out and get as close as they can to that other one at the side of the 8-foot, it really puts a lot of pressure on. You could even play almost play a double there if it hit right, but it just it gives the opportunity now for Team Manuel to split the house and sit 2 and really put some pressure on Team Abraham. This would be a really good end if they're able to force Abraham to a single in this end. It's the ideal scenario, as I said at the start, how you really would want hammer in the even ends. You would have, if you go back and forth, 2 hammers compared to Abraham's 1.
Right.
So if you're able to score a good result, like in this case, 2 seems to be a very good result. Right. In 8 and 10, and you force Team Abraham to a lower count in end number 9. Boy, that would be a recipe for success. But again, we'll have to wait and see, because execution is the name of the game.
Matt Manuel with his first stone in the 7th inning. Line looks good. Just waiting on the weight. Really leaning on. Good sweeping here from Cameron and Zanarchuk.
That almost had a surprisingly good plan B result there, was that if they had gotten a little bit more movement on that stone at the third one to the right of your screen, the closest to the house without being in,
Right.
it almost tapped it slightly, almost to get into being in a biting position. So that would have left Abraham down 3 going into this shot. But now that they're only down 2, they can put a really good hit and roll on for this shot and really put Manuel under pressure once again.
So Ryan Abraham taking his time. His first stone of this 7th end, and really working hard is Mosier. Gets the hit and the roll. Beautiful shot there by Ryan Abraham.
And I said again so many times about the battle at skip stones, and boy, Ryan Abraham is really showing why this is a tight match. To come up with super shots like that.
He is definitely giving Manuel a run for his money.
In a very tough position going into that shot. Now, it's going to be very challenging for Team Manuel to even get in a position where they can force Abraham to a single.
So the last stone here in this 7th end for Manuel. Both of these skips have been outstanding in this match. Hit and roll. Trying to sneak that around the guard. A little bit too heavy. But try to get it around that guard.
That is extremely good.
Good shot though. A little bit of daylight though left.
They needed just a little bit more
movement
curl to be able to get behind that guard.
Good result, but not probably the result they were looking for. So an opportunity here, as you can see, a little bit of frustration in the back end there, displayed by Manuel.
It does get to a very tricky area of this sheet. So the least bit of over curl is going to result in movement on stone rather than on the shot stone. So it's going to be a big shot here from Ryan Abraham to hopefully at least score blank.
So here comes Abraham, looking for 3 great shots in a row. Mosier really coming on to it. It's got a good line, sneaks by the guard, hits and rolls through the button. And it's a good shot there for Abraham, and he picks up 1.
Which that really does fit to the game plan for Team Manuel of being able to force in the 7th end, and then you have the 2 hammers compared to your opposition's 1. So, big result.
So that gives Team M the lead 4-3 heading into the 8th end.
Just as we're about to start this end, I do see over on our other feature game, currently Callie Moore facing 2 with the hammer. Very important for her to execute this, or that could almost ice the title for the defending champions, Team Jones.
So final instructions here in this 8th of Sheet C between Team Manuel and Team Abraham. Last end, Ryan Abraham able to pick up the single. has a 4-3 lead. This is Thomas Mosier, the lead.
And for our viewers, there was just a steal of 2, which it puts it up to 6-1 over there on sheet D. Big result there for Team Jones, leading by 5. 2 ends to play.
Good shot there, though. Going back to sheet C here by Thomas Mosier. As we're getting into winning time here on sheet C between Team Abraham and Team Manuel.
And this seems like it's been the way of doing things for the entire game, of just being able to play aggressive with that corner guard and be able to focus on putting some aggression early right from the lead stones. Usually you see a little bit more patience, and that's what we saw earlier in the game, but now it seems like every end is going to be played as aggressive as possible. You could see a lot of rocks in play here.
Second one coming from Mosier. It's got good weight. It's waiting on the line. Trying to sneak around the guard. And a beautiful throw by Mosier.
Well played there. Now you're going to see Alec try to come down to that. Maybe tap it a little bit.
Cameron's second throw. And here it comes. Really needs to get the weight, though. Good line.
Really well done there.
And nestles right up to Mosier's stone. Jake Fleming's first for Team Abraham. Looks like good weight. Asking for it to come around, though.
They're yelling no bump, so that they really don't want as much movement as if at all possible.
Just a little hit there, a little bit of a roll on the second stone in the house.
So you're probably going to see a hit and roll played here. It's really important to be able to get as much of a roll behind cover as you possibly can. If you are able to get to the nose of the front yellow, you're at least going to spill that one. Your blue in the middle is going to stay there and lead to you sitting 2. Difficult shot, but it's there.
Definitely not unmakeable, as we've seen some outstanding shots by both of these teams throughout this match. Shots that look almost virtually impossible at the level, but these guys have stepped up to the task, and they know what's on the line here, John. And you've mentioned it, and I've mentioned it several times. They know what's at stake.
Yeah, especially the fact that with Team Abraham facing elimination, they're truly showing why they deserve to be in the playoffs. That being said, as well, Team Manuel is also showing why they are former champions in this event, and they are very determined to make a return and solidify a spot with 2 lives in the playoffs.
So that last stone able to pull stones and clear the house a little bit, but there's 2 lying, 1 of each still inside the 8-foot. There's Jake Fleming throwing his second stone.
From the position of the broom there, trying to make a play onto that blue of Team Manuel's at the edge of the 8-foot. So they're going to have to run back a blue, which is not the ideal scenario.
Tough shot coming here, and he's really looking for it. He misses it, though. So now.
So Matt's asking Nick if he can enough to hit that stone. It's very difficult. You probably can only throw like probably backline weights or maybe close to a hack weight, just enough to push that stone out of the house while still keeping yours in play. Very precise weight to throw, but if they're able to get it to curl enough perfect while using that weight.
And here comes Nick's first.
Looks slightly heavy here. Needs to come down.
And that hits. Not enough to roll it out of the house, though. And just couldn't get it out of the house. So it sneaks on the edge of the 12-foot. Keeping it in play. Oh, it's Brooks up. Brooks' Roach's opportunity now.
And this type of hit play is wheelhouse of just being able to make any form of takeout, and he really needs a perfect shot here.
Looks like it's got the line. Gets the hit and the roll. So he's able to execute, take out that blue stone of Team Manuel.
So Matt's calling for Adam to go to the top of the 8-foot behind cover. He really can't go behind the tee line simply because of the fact that it would give Team Abraham a spot to rest up to, and it would not be a good result.
And here comes Cox's first throw in this 8th end. Line's good. Looking for it to come around. Here it comes. That's a pretty good result there.
Still need to be a little bit deeper, probably. If they had gotten at least biting into the 8-foot a little bit better, because of this area now where all he has to do is pretty much draw a full 12 and it would be shot stone. It makes it a lot easier for Abraham's team to get a rock position buried and really in a position that could be a thorn in the side of Team Manuel.
Here's Brooks's last stone of this 8th end. They like the weight. Can it sneak around? Yes, it does. Making his way, trying to stay in the 8-foot. That's a pretty good throw there by Brooks.
So there's two options here. You either have the option that it appears that Matt is calling for, which is just drawing top 4, which that is a really good result. He could also, if he was trying to maybe make it more difficult to take out, he could also try to rest onto that stone that was just thrown by Team Abraham.
And here comes Cox's last throw. Matt likes the line.
Just in the weight here.
And here it comes. and not a bad result.
Great result there from Adam Cox.
Getting it to come around. Nice weight. Good line at the end. Just to right though. But as you can see here, just laying in that 4 foot, that blue stone.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of room for Ryan Abraham to come down onto that one and hit it out. Let's see how he executes this one here.
Manuel owns the hammer in this end. Both of these skips have been outstanding thus far. They're really wanting to come on hard. It's Mosier and Fleming really digging in. Roach joins in. It's curling, it's coming slowly. Just a little bit short.
Yeah, just coming a little bit short. That really gives a lot of protection there for Matt Manuel. He wants to try to score a deuce, so the question is how he does it. As Matt and Adam discussed their options there, it looks like final stone on D, which a hit and roll, and it is the game. So Caitlin Jones, the defending champion, goes undefeated in this tournament from the Halifax Curling Club team, as timeout is called on our sheet.
Timeout called by Matt Manuel.
So again, well done to the Caitlin Jones team, undefeated in this tournament. A very strong performance, and they'll be excellent representatives for Nova Scotia at the Canadian Juniors in Shawinigan, Quebec. Also, well done to Team Moore for an excellent performance. A tough team to face, who have truly been performing well all week.
Yeah, congratulations to Team Jones, as you mentioned throughout the broadcast. They have been outstanding throughout this championships, and they didn't leave anything for chance tonight.
So for this shot, we'll try to listen in here. Let's see.
So
he is looking at the potential of trying to come around. It's very difficult, but I think it is there. He really would need to get a lot of curl to do it.
Very pivotal stage of this match. Trailing 4-3. Matthew Manuel calling timeout to talk things over with his coach, Stu Cameron. Manuel does own the hammer in this 8th end. Big decision time here, as that's their first timeout for Team Manuel. Final instructions being delivered by Coach Stu Cameron. As all 4 team members inside the house there trying to map out the game plan. And the execution in the last 3 ends has been outstanding, John.
For sure, it has been definitely outstanding, and this is a very pivotal shot. It looks like, based on that line, they're going to try to draw what appears to be probably top 4-ish weight, and they're going to need to let the sweepers do a little bit of work to get it over there. But if they're able to get buried behind cover in the 4-foot, it would really put a pressure draw for Ryan Abraham to really limit the count.
And how important is the execution for Matt Manuel right now? in the latter part of this match.
It is super important because, as we've said, it's the little things that have been making such a big difference. Even as simple as a few centimeters of ice or a hair extra weight has been the only difference between these two teams here this evening.
And here it comes. Manuel chasing it all the ways down the ice. Trying to turn. Slowly. Slowly. And that is excellent from Manuel.
The only problem there now is the fact that
there's a pocket
there is a pocket to be able to come down to, and it makes it a little bit easier to draw to. That being said, it's a very tough shot because you pretty much have to draw at least. You have backing, so it makes it a little bit easier for Ryan to be able to execute.
So what's Ryan's thinking right now? He sees there's
Probably
two in the house. He's up one. We're in the 8th end.
He probably has to be thinking, I need to get this on the pin, or at least possible, because it is, if they're not able to get behind cover and Manuel scores 2 or 3, that could really be a game changer going into the final 2 ends of play.
So Ryan Abraham with his last stone in the 8th end. Lights the line. A little worried. Here it comes. It's curling just a little bit, and a hit and stick. So good shot there by Abraham. Now that's going to force another shot from Matthew Manuel.
So the benefit there is the fact that Matt can come down and he doesn't even have to get on the nose. He can roll a little bit and still sit shots down because of it being in the open. So that is really a good result for Team Manuel.
An opportunity here.
Score.
All eyes on Sheet C. It's the only game in town right now in these 2018 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Provincial Championship Junior Curling Championships at the Lakeshore Curling Club. We're in the 8th end. And Matthew Manuel owns the hammer, trailing 4-3. Here it comes.
Sweeper's working it out here. They need to go.
And Manuel is screaming. And here it comes. It's curling. It's got the line.
Ryan
and the
Abraham raising the broom there and saluting that shot. Well executed for his deuce.
And Manuel picks up the double as he takes the lead 5-4, heading to the 9th end. And we have seen curling from the skippers in the last 2 ends.
Yeah,
I would say the last 4 ends in this match, John.
The last 4 ends have been absolutely exceptional.
They have been matching shots, these 2 skips.
And just the fact that they're making such high percentage, high difficulty shots in such a pivotal game, because especially Ryan Abraham is playing so well to be able to hold his own against somebody as strong as his former skipper in Matt Manuel. The game has been exceptional. That's all I can say. It's amazing.
It's definitely been back and forth, and there have been some key moments where both of those skips have stepped up and delivered for their team. Starting the 9th end here. Team Manuel most recently taking over 8th end, 5-4.
So Team Manuel are really going to try hard to force Abraham to a single. If you're able to go tied coming home with last rock, that would be exceptional.
Very ideal, but a lot of pressure. But it seems like these two teams and these two the pressure, because we haven't seen them falter yet. When they have the opportunity,
when
they have stepped up.
When the lights came on and they were in the big game situation, they've been executing phenomenally.
Well, the light is totally on right now. Game going on here in Sheet C.
And Matt Manuel may have to get used to this a lot, because the fact that now that Caitlin Jones has clinched the girls' title, whatever game that the boys' tournament has up on the ice is going to be the only game in play.
And if you're just joining us, we are in the 9th end. Vince Williams, John Seitman here at the Lakeshore Curling Club with 2018 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Provincial Championships. And we have a dandy going here between Team Abraham and Team Manuel.
They're going to want to sweep that as hard as they can. Try to get as close to the center line as possible, which it appears they've just gotten into.
That's not a bad shot.
Good result. So Ryan is going to call for a come around probably to that area, the top 8 from Thomas Mosier.
Pretty consistent curling from both of these sides. And it's coming straight from the lead all the way down to the skip. Not a lot of mistakes in this match, Sean.
Yeah, like I was keeping the statistics on this game, because I would guess that, like, when you have teams curling like 85-90% type stuff, the average is probably about 70 at the junior level, like 70 to 80 at the highest levels, and they're really putting up phenomenal play in a big game situation, and like that is something that can be admired by anybody in the curling community. Like this, I don't even know what to say, really.
Well, the plays definitely dictated whatever we can with. The pictures don't lie.
So Nick trying to get around this one here.
Manuel looking for it to come around here. Good line. Just sneaks it around. Oh, he's looking at the stay in the house. Just a little bit heavy, but it stays on the back of the 12. So now Jake Fleming will throw his first stone. Then Fleming's been pretty steady in the second position. Gets the hit and the roll. Almost, and it looks like a good shot there by Fleming as it sneaks in the 12 foot there on the hit and roll. So good result from Jake in his first stone.
Really well done there from Jake. So now that really forces a really good hit from Nick on this one. You can get a roll to sort of guard his stone at the back and force the play a little bit tighter in. It may produce a mistake and maybe force to a single if they can really play it right.
Looking for the hit and roll, and he gets that to perfection. Now, Jake Fleming's second stone coming up. Quick strategy. The skip. Ryan Abraham. Looks like the weight is definitely there. Looking for the line. Gets the hit. And stays within the 12-foot there.
Really interesting result there because really it didn't change much of anything,
No.
honestly.
Just change colors.
Yeah. Moose play a little bit further away toward the corners.
On the first stone here in the 9th end for Adam Cox.
Sweeper's waiting on this one here. And then
Cox
just roll
gets the
away.
hit and rolls away.
What about the draw?
So both of these teams look like they're playing a little cautious here in this 9th end here, John.
Yeah, for sure. Like you really at this point you can't make even mistakes because the simplest of mistakes could be what makes the big difference. When both teams are curling so well and the shot making is so exceptional, you really can't mess up on anything.
Does Ryan Abraham look for the clean end and hold the hammer in the 10th and try his chances there, or does he look for that point now?
It's very challenging because with how clean the house is, I would say he's probably going to look more toward blank in this end. He carry over the hammer to the 10th end and hope for a chance to get a deuce there. It's very challenging because Manuel has not given up very many in the 10th end in any game so far.
That's a good hit and stick right there.
Yeah, it's starting to look like the typical play of a blank end. So they're going to really play more the in and out style. Just take out as much as you can. More likely to carry over the hammer to the 10th and try for your luck there.
And when you say try for your luck, who takes the chances in the 10th end? Is the team that's trying the hammer, or is it the team that has the lead without the hammer, knowing that the team right now, Matt Manuel has an opportunity. He's already in.
It's very situational.
Playoff round.
It's very situational because really Ryan Abraham has more to lose, so he's going to play more in that 10th end to look for his deuce. That being said as well, Matt Manuel, because he has the fact that if he wins, he has 2 lives in the playoffs. He's also going to want to play extra aggressive, he may take a few extra risks that he may have not been taking earlier in the game, and it could be a factor as we head toward the end of this matchup.
And the first stone in the 10th end for the skip, Matt Manuel.
Needs to curl a little bit here.
He's got good weight. Gets the hit and roll.
Good result there because that puts it a little bit closer to the guard of Team Manuel's. It still should probably be wide open enough to blank, which, yeah. So you're going to see probably a blank end here.
Yeah, probably control with this ice.
Now Ryan ends. Opportunity here. Taking his time. Really not in any hurry.
Yeah, he still has 7 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock, so on average, 3.5 minutes to play an end. So he's almost at the point where he'll have about 6.5 minutes of thinking time before the end of the 10 ends of regulation.
He gets it to hit and roll. That's definitely looking like what you mentioned. And it looked early that Abraham looking for the blank end to carry over.
The biggest thing here now is that if Matt's able to get a bit more curl off of that center line to get behind the guard, it would make blank in the end a whole lot more difficult. It would probably force to a single, which would revert the hammer back to Matt for the 10th.
So, big decision right now for Manuel as he takes a deep breath before throwing his final stone.
Sweeper's really waiting on this.
Starting to turn, trying to get around that guard. And that's a good result.
Extremely good result there from the skip. That's really what I like to call patient sweeping, is that they really, they had the ability that they could have gone at it early like a lot of junior teams have.
Right.
But they knew that it was going to back up out from the center line and curl hard once you waited for it. So that was really intelligent sweeping from the Matt Manuel ring, really putting it in a good position to put Abraham under pressure going into his zone of this end.
So, big decision time here for skip Ryan Abraham in his last throw.
You skip by here.
Hits.
Well executed there.
Beautiful execution there as he forced Ryan Abraham to come up with a huge shot with the final stone, and the hammer will carry over to the 10th.
And nobody's moving an inch, Vince. It seems that even this late in the evening, nobody wants to leave without seeing the end of this matchup.
And if you're just joining us, you definitely came at the right time. We have a dance going here. The final match on Sheet C here at the Lakeshore Curling Club in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia for the 2018 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Provincial Championships. Team Manuel, Team Abraham going into this 10th end, but Team Abraham does own the hammer. That's the first stone in the lead of Team Manuel, Alec Cameron.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this end, whether it's going to be very conservative to try for maybe a potential for a steal, or whether they're going to play extra aggressive. Team Abraham really has to play a little bit more aggressive too, because they need two.
Mm-hmm. At the very least, they need to get one.
Yeah, they at least need one, and then would have to steal an extra, which would be a challenge against a team like Manuel.
So, every stone pretty much counts from here in, from both sides.
Sweepers backing off of this one. Good
They're
result.
happy with that result there. The pressure is definitely on both sides. You can feel the anxiety in this building. No really talking here in the spectator gallery, and you can feel the tension on the ice as well from our vantage point, John.
I don't think anybody's even moving, not even the Team Jones celebration after their win. The manager of the Lakeshore Club, Karen Skiffington, just sat down next to us, and I think they've had a pretty long day looking to finish up for the evening. But we could be in for a little bit longer out on the ice here. It's been a dandy. She's saying don't say the nasty word about extra time, but I think that with how tight this game has been going.
Usually the initials are double E. Mosier really working. Looking for it to turn. Lots of communication here as it gets around. It's the tap and the roll. So we have 2 stones in the house, 1 of each from each side. 5-4 lead, Team Manuel over Team Abraham. We are in the 10th end. Team Abraham looking to move to the playoff round. Team Manuel already there. Looking to play spoiler.
Whale looks pretty close here.
Can't sneak it around the guard though. Knocks out 2 of his own. And just maybe sneaks on the edge of the 12-foot. Pretty interesting play there, John.
Yeah, I think that wasn't what he had hoped for at all.
Absolutely not, I would say.
So now it does put a bit of a situation there where if Abraham plays a hit and stick onto that, there would be a double available.
And the first stone here from Jake Fleming. He's looking for Mosier to really come on it.
Mosier heads down play here.
That's a pretty good shot there from Fleming. Gets the result he was looking for. As Mosier's done a pretty good job at sweeping this evening in this match.
Yeah, he's really been, I guess so to speak, the metaphorical literal engine that could. Because it seems every time that they need to keep on chugging, they just keep on with him heads down, just sweeping a top strength.
And here's Nick's final stone. He gets a hit in the roll. Tried to sneak it behind that guard there of Team Abraham.
It does go out into the open now, so that gives the opportunity for a potential hit and roll from Team Abraham.
It's Jake Fleming with his second and final stone of this 10th end for Team Abraham. Trailing 5-4 with the hammer.
Very precise weight needed here.
And here it comes. Trying to get it around the guard. Looking for the hit and roll. Oh, they hits it and sticks it. But execute that play there is Jake Fleming. So 2 line in the house for Team Abraham. It's decision time here for Team Manuel as we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. The 2 outstanding shot makers and the skips. Well, we know we're going to see some fireworks in this 10th end by these 2 individuals, Emmanuel and Abraham, John.
Yeah, it could be really interesting here because if Adam makes that double, it could really make that stone at the edge of the 12-foot on the far other side. It may look like it's biting. It's enough that it could force a single out of Ryan Abraham if it stays there.
And a hit and stick. Executed. There by Adam Cox. As Brooks Roach looks to throw his first stone of this 10th end. Getting some final instructions from the skip, Ryan Abraham. They're looking to do the same. So nothing fancy about this attack, John, between these 2 teams in this 10th end.
Yeah, they're really playing it simple, focusing on the fundamental shots. Curling, such a challenging sport. They're simply, and sometimes the simplest shots can be the hardest shots.
And he just sneaks that, gets a little bit of a tick, doesn't get the result he was looking for. So, would you say this is a little bit of a crack, an opening here of some sort?
Yeah, that was definitely an opening for sure, because now that gives the opportunity that they're probably going to make, as you can see there, they're going to make a play for Adam to take out that guard, potentially replace it with their own, and make it a little bit more safe for them in that area.
And a miss, a huge miss there by Cox. So whether that was nerves or whatnot, but not sure what to call it, but definitely not the result that they were looking for. Now an opening here for Brooks Roach, and you can sense the frustration there by Adams Cox. He is not happy right now. An opportunity, just a little window in for Team Manuel, and they did not capitalize. So another opportunity here for Brooks Roach to capitalize on this mistake by Cox.
Yeah, after such a well-played game, it's pretty the 2 biggest misses of the game happen on made stones in the 10th end. Like, it's been so close between the 2 teams that's, again, the little things that make the big difference.
And that just sneaks just a little bit of a touch. And it ends up hanging around on the 8-foot.
So now that leads Matt to go for the hit and roll, coming off the center line toward that stone at the back of the 4-foot. If he can try to get a hit and roll, like enough to flop behind the guard, it would really make it a pressure-filled area of this game.
So definitely in the crunch time right now, as it's coming down to the 2 skips in this match, in Manuel and Abraham. And Matt's first stone. Likes to wait. Does he have the line?
He's got to curl a little bit here.
Gets the hit and the roll. Can he stick it on the 12? And it stays in.
He sits. It's a sitting 2 now.
So now it's Ryan Abraham's chance. And they have been matching shot for shot in the last 5 ends, these two skips.
And it's been absolutely to have such a big result from these two teams and these two skips in this big a game has been a really well played
And former
contest.
teammates they are.
Former teammates for many years.
Huge bragging rights in here, and an opportunity to move on in these provincial championships and give themselves a chance to represent Nova Scotia in Shawinigan.
It's going to be very important to get this behind cover as best they can here. So they're going to need to work on this.
Here comes Abraham Stone. He's first this in. Tries to slip that around the guard, just gets it in. Is it enough? He's really digging in his Mosier. Beautiful shot.
And you're seeing a lot of shows of emotion over there from the Ryan Abraham team. As I believe that they may have, they did signal for their second timeout for Team Manuel. But it's more just a timeout to be able to. They're not going to have the coaches come out or anything. This is just one to be able
strategy.
to. No, it's more really just to be able to settle yourself, to be able to have all the time you need to make the big shot.
Well, this is the biggest moment of the game for Matt Manuel, for sure. And there's been some pressure-packed moments throughout this match for him. No bigger than this one right now. His final throw in this 10th end. But he has the lead, 5-4. But his opponent has the hammer.
Looks pretty close here.
He's got good weight. Does it have the line? He hits. Rolls.
Oh, that was well played.
Good shot there by Manuel.
So that does force Team Abraham that really there's few options, but it's very difficult to score two without having yours go out of the rings.
Right now, John. Play, knowing that all they need is one to force extra ends.
Because the risk that you have there, if you hit that stone on the nose, your stone at the back, which is your second shot, which would be your game-winning shot,
right?
If you're going for two, it would go to the house.
Now I'm going to ask you this foolish question. Pretty sure you've been in this situation as a skip. What do you do? Now we're not talking just a normal match. We're talking for an opportunity to move on here and stay alive.
Honestly, and I know that this may seem very cheesy, you just close your eyes, hope, and just
do you go for it?
Go for it with the confidence that you've probably in your career you've made this type of shot so many times before, even in a big game situation. You are able to execute.
Well, he is going for it. Final stone.
Crowd on the edge of their seats for this one.
Ryan Abraham looking for a berth. Playoffs.
He has to be so careful because the least bit of a roll out, and that would cost him his two, and would probably send us to an extra end, depending on the movement.
And here it comes. Likes to wait. Doesn't have the line. Gets the hit and the roll. Oh.
A
And
steal.
a steal. So the high-risk move ends up biting. And the air just bursted.
I don't
out
think
of this
anybody
building.
can even. The crowd on their feet there for an outstanding game.
Very
from
high
both
risk
teams.
moves by Ryan Abraham. He was looking for the two to win it and not go into extra ends. And it hits and rolls Manuel Stone closest to the button, and that'll do it. Make the final 6-4.
Yeah,
Matthew Manuel wins it without the hammer. John,
I'm definitely stunned too, because it's hard to believe that, like, when you look at it, we had so many big results, and you get probably the
Shot after
the
shot
three
was
biggest
made.
the three biggest misses were in the last 4 stones of each team in the 10th end. There's nothing that you can really say about it. It's just shocking.
I can tell you this. When it comes to sport, 90% of it's mental and 10% is physical. And in this scenario, I would definitely say nerves and the mental game in this final end on both sides. So both sides had ample opportunities to take advantage of mistakes, and none bigger than the final mistake there by Ryan Abraham as he went for it. He went for it all, and you said it. He's probably made his eyes closed on several occasions, but this is the big stage. This is your provincial championship. All the marbles on the line is in going on to the playoffs, knowing that if you do lose and come up short, you're going home.
And
Your tournament's over.
And I guess that is really the game story. Those little things being what was the difference for Ryan Abraham in getting knocked out of this event. It was a well-played game from both sides, but the little things were the difference.
So that'll do it for the men's side in C here at the Lakeshore Curling Club. The final 6-4. Matthew Manuel will go on to take on Team Weagle
And that will be at
morning.
8:30 tomorrow morning at 8:30 on, I believe that is on sheet D.
And that'll be town, and that will complete the 2018 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Provincial Junior Curling Championships. So, for John Seitman, I'm Vince Williams, and the rest of the crew of the TV1, thank you for joining us all week long, and particularly this evening for great curling action, but we still have one result. Don't forget to follow us tomorrow at 8:30 when the men's division will be decided. So, good night and so long from the Lakeshore Curling Club.
Just stupid stuff, man. Like that deuce where he slashed that one in. That shouldn't have been.